Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Heritage GameBritannia LAN, where we see Bath University 1-0 up against University of Nottingham. I'm your host, Minnie, and joining me is, again, unfortunately, I'm joking, Pflax. How are you doing?
You're dead to me, sunshine.
I'm sorry.
Dire team back.
The last game, obviously, saw Bath University. It was a very close game, actually, probably the closest game of today. Very exciting.
Yeah, it was good. I think they both had potential. It came down to plays rather than picks, I think.
Definitely.
And that's good to see. I like that.
Yeah.
But, two smart bands here, Death Prophet, Invoker. Neither of those are hero you want to play against. I think we're going to see a Lone Druid. We haven't seen Lone Druid yet.
I think Zeus is going to be the most highly kind of prioritised pick, whether it's banned out here from Nottingham or not. I think Bath are looking to first pick it. The hero was doing so much work last game, particularly because he wasn't getting focused in the Chronospheres, but he was doing so much damage. And if Bath University can protect the Zeus, I think in team fights he was doing far too much work.
He does a huge amount of so much damage, like you say. Weren't able to get, from what I saw, the time dilation on him, so he couldn't spam his spells.
Yeah.
His positioning was spot on. I thought he was really good.
But wondering if Lone Druid is going to be the pick. I mean, I think Lone Druid is one of those heroes that if you don't have a player that can play the hero, I don't think you should pick him. But simply, like, the hero is incredibly strong, and particularly in the top scene, we're seeing a lot of Lone Druid pick, particularly from the likes of Alliance and EG, for example, when Arteezy plays it. But I think in this sort of tier of teams, I think unless there's a specific hero or a specific player like Lone Druid, I think don't touch it. And I'm glad they did ban it. But there's the Zeus first pick as expected.
Dire team pick.
Well,
they
so
banned out.
far, did Viper win a game against Zeus and Viper lost a game against Zeus? Is that how it's gone?
Yes, I think it's been 1-1. So, I think Viper's a fine counter against Zeus, honestly. I think he does well against Zeus in the lane, but I think there's a certain playstyle you have to play when you play the Viper against Zeus. In the last game, Zeus was getting far too much time and space in the lane to get last hits with Arc Lightning. Viper has to play very far up against Zeus to make sure he can't get Arc Lightning on the creep wave. So it comes down to the mid player.
I think as well, like, he didn't max the corrosive.
Yeah, that's true. He went 2-on-2.
If you max that against Zeus, he cannot farm. And the Zeus is actually, so far in a lot of these games, have only taken one level in the queue just to help with the last hits, and then they've maxed Lightning Bolt because it seems like the fighting happens pretty early on around.
Yeah.
So I think that seems to be the way. But Vengeance, Gyro's been banned a lot. He's first picked so far, along with Venge.
I think the hero is, like, we see it picks up a lot already. I mean, regardless whether you nerf this hero or not, it works so well in the meta. He's a hero that can farm well, and is good throughout the stage of the game. Good in the laning stage, good in the mid game, good in the late game if he gets items. And the team fight is great as well. And I think he does very well with the Vengeful Spirit. If you can get if you get a good wave of terror off, plus the flat cannon, can do a lot of AoE physical damage. Witch Doctor pick up here for second pick from Bath University. A hero that has been prioritised a lot more recently over the course of a couple of months, honestly. The hero wasn't picked up barely at all, but now it's gaining a lot more favour. I think the ability to have Maledict as well as a spell is just incredibly strong in the lane as well as in the mid game as well. So a nice pick up here and a hero that can't easily be countered. So
I think the thing is, people underestimate the power. Like, people think about his ult. His ult is amazing, but his cask is huge, and as well, he gives you that heal, which a lot of teams rely on to be able to maintain momentum. I mean, these are always going to be, unless you. I mean, bear in mind, most of these teams are pretty evenly matched, so fights are going to involve some losses. You're certainly going to take a lot of damage. It's not going to be simple. Witch Doctor's heal, AoE heal, that he can just toggle in and off. It's really big for maintaining pushes.
It's good sustain. But I'm kind of surprised Bath University banned out the Faceless Void. I mean, yes, it was a very key factor actually in the last game, don't get me wrong. I think the Chronosphere was the only thing that was keeping University of Nottingham in the game. However, the reason why I'm surprised they banned it though is that, I mean, the Faceless Void for themselves would be great here. Zeus plus Witch Doctor, outside the Chronosphere can do so much work, pummeling all that damage into a Chronosphere from Faceless Void, but perhaps Bath University, their off-lane areas, doesn't feel comfortable playing Faceless Void.
Yep, or they've got something else planned. They banned that Darkseer. We saw Darkseer a lot in the first series of the day.
10 seconds
and he did very well in a couple of those games. AA as well, I think that was...
Oh, hello. I did not realise Nottingham had a Wisp player, actually. Now, that does make things a lot more spicier, actually.
It does. Now, there's a lot of heroes out there.
Oh,
the block picking Tony.
Wow.
This could be a lot of things. Bristleback.
Yeah.
Could be a whole bunch of stuff.
I mean, he can pair quite well with Gyrocopter as well. It all depends on whether they want Gyrocopter as their partner or not. But like you said, Sven's good, Bristleback is good. I think those are probably the two main options. I think Sven might be probably the superior pick. He's playing against Witch Doctor, plus the arm will be very, very good against the Death Ward here. And also can easily blow up the Zeus, regardless of what lane he's in. Wow. I'm kind of surprised. Like, I think Tiny's one of those heroes though that you don't have to have Wisp with you. Like the hero's good by himself. Normally, if we do see Tiny by himself though, he's either played solo mid or even support. Sometimes that Seeger have been playing. They play Pylodie and support, but I don't think we're going to see that here. But we're probably going to see a position 1 Tiny in the short lane. But the hero is good by himself, whether they have Ire or not. And now it's whether Nottingham are going to, what pick are they going to play with? Chaos Knight is another good Wisp counter. Whether they want to pick up that. Probably not the greatest against Zeus, obviously, because Zeus can kill the illusions very, very easily. So I'm definitely tending towards either the Sven or the Bristleback here for the partner of the Wisp.
I think Bristle would be good. He can tank a lot of damage. Wisp, especially in lane, once they get a couple of levels, it's the easiest dive in the world. You can dive so hard.
Viper.
But yeah, Viper against Zeus, I think that makes sense. So.
But it looks like they're not going to run. Like, I think the Wisp counter or the Wisp combo is just going to be with Gyrocopter.
No, they could still run Wisp Bristle in the off lane. I've seen
that is true. That is true actually.
Games,
that's not out of the question actually.
I mean, Gyro is fine on his own. Like even sticking with Avenge, he's going to be fine. You could easily put Bristle and Io up against the safe lane Tony.
The only problem with that is that they're going to be lacking lockdown. Something they lacked in last game as well, if you remember. All they had to rely on was the Chronosphere for Faceless Void. And yes, it was okay in their team fights, but in early engagements, they didn't have the right lockdown to take the team fights on the smaller scale.
I will just say, you have the slow with Gyro's ult, which is a low cooldown.
Yeah.
You've got a stun with Venge. You've got a slow with Wisp. You've got slows with Viper. If they took Bristle, slows again.
Yeah.
Slows in some ways can be more valuable than a single stun. But yeah, I agree. It is a bit of a lack of lockdown, but I do think it would be very strong.
Yeah, I mean, I don't refuse that's going to be strong. I think they're playing against Witch Doctor though, so you're going to need some kind of lockdown because there's channeling spells obviously with Witch Doctor. And Ebola is out, boys. Ebola is out. The Ebola spirit is out. Don your face mask because no one wants to be getting some kind of diseases from this character at the moment. But I'm kind of surprised though. We didn't see any Earth Spirit in the previous series, and we were talking actually whether they had an Earth Spirit picker. But clearly, Bath University are feeling confident in their Earth Spirit. Wow.
5 seconds.
What a hero! I don't know how to play around this guy at all. He's my nightmare in most games. I played the other day against an Earth Spirit who got an axe, turned us all into rocks, kicked us around like we were pebbles on a beach. It was not fun.
But I think Earth Spirit is generally a good hero as long as you have a player to play. It can roam very, very well, which is something that I think has been a key throughout both of these series. It's how well can you secure the early game? How can you secure the lanes? You know, the ganks, rotations, and Earth Spirit. As long as you have a hero to play it that can play it, I think it's very good. It's kind of similar to a Tusk in that respect. They can rotate to lanes and can be a complete nightmare. Well, the one problem though is they don't have the greatest burst for the Wisp. They obviously have the Tiny plus the Zeus, but you know, if you had maybe a second support Lena, for example, that might have been superior. But I think the Earth Spirit can definitely work out here in this draft.
Definitely.
They banned out Shadow Shaman though, so it looks like Nottingham are going to assume that this Earth Spirit is going to be an offlane Earth Spirit.
10 seconds remaining.
The one thing that the Witch Doctor brings here is if Wisp's tethered to someone and you chuck a bongo.
That's true. Yeah.
He's going to be dragging that bongo around, so he either has to disengage, detether, move away, or they're going to get stunned up. That is a nice combo, but I don't think it's necessarily something that prevents you picking Wisp, but it's something to think about.
No, honestly, Witch Doctor is probably one of or it's a good counter against Wisp because of that paralyzing cast. Like, obviously the Terror units are very good, and it's very, very important when the relocate comes out, because if Witch Doctor is sitting behind a core that the Wisp relocates onto, it can completely save the core as a result. Yep. There's other great good counters like Disruptor, obviously, because you can glimpse back the Tiny and kill the Wisp, or you know, glimpse back the Wisp and kill the Tiny. Obviously you have burst heroes like Lena. But going back to the point though, it looks like University or not, I mean, do assume that this Earth Spirit is going to be offlane because they banned out the Shadow Shaman. So whether Earth Spirit is going to be offlane or whether it's going to be support, there's still a second support option open for Bath University. But with that being said, I definitely think Earth Spirit is a lot better in the secondary support role. Wow, Tybee picks up here for the University of Nottingham.
That's a good combo, very, very strong in lane. Very hard to kill, and I think he can set up a lot for them with a good Ravage. But I do still kind of like Bath University's draft here. I think they've got a lot of potential.
I think now with Wisp not having a partner, like we mentioned whether the Bristleback is going to be coming out or not, I think Tide probably was the better pick than Bristleback because it gives him some kind of lockdown, gives him some AoE team fight. But now the Wisp is going to be kind of, he doesn't know who to tether. Like Viper and Gyrocopter aren't the best tethered units. I mean, yes, obviously they're good, but you know, compared to with like a Sven or a Bristol or a Tiny, the Wisp might be feeling a little bit out of place. So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to sort of see how they're going to try and integrate this Wisp in this lineup.
Relocate Ravage might be a thing.
Oh, Abaddon.
Right.
So I'm assuming it's going to be an offlane Abaddon with Spirit as secondary support. This is going to cause a lot of problems for the University of Nottingham in the safe lane, because it might be an Spirit plus Abaddon in the dual offlane, which, I mean, a hero like Wisp, obviously, whether he's going to be dual mid or not, it is going to cause a lot of problems for the safe lane at the University of Nottingham, because Gyrocopter and Venge just, I don't think it's going to be strong enough to deal effectively with the Spirit and Abaddon.
I wonder what they're thinking about with regards to laning against the Viper. I'm just wondering if they're going to send something a bit funky in a different lane and leave something else against Viper. I'm not sure. I'm not sure which of these players plays which role, to be honest. But I don't think they're going to dodge the Viper. They didn't seem to have too much trouble with it last time.
Exactly. Like as long as Zeus can get last hits with Arc Gliding, yes, he's going to take a lot of damage from the E from Viper. But I mean, he's going to bottle throw anyone. He should be fine as long as he gets his last hits and gets his farm. I think he's going to be a real threat in this game, regardless. But
I can click on heroes. What a brave new world! Wonderful.
The game 2 is underway between Bath University and University of Nottingham. 1-0 up for Bath University. Come on, guys. Where's the support? Woo!
Shout out to Bathland. Uh-oh.
Oh, pause. Boo. Come on, guys. We just made, you know, a big little audience hype, and then they go and pause it. Yeah, not great, but you know, happens. I guess it happens.
Let's run through the teams while we get a chance here. We got Bifed on the Zeus. We got Bay on the Tiny. Old Driver on the Earth Spirit. I'm an old driver. What's he saying? Spirit on the Abaddon and...
Which Doctor? Bot lane.
Where is he?
Bot lane.
There he is. And Ollie the Optimist on the Witch Doctor.
The University of Nottingham, we have LRM on the Tidehunter, Cloud Reed on the Wisp, Never Don't Give Up on the Viper, Joff on the Gyrocopter, and finally Sock on the Vengeful Spirit.
Well spoken.
But yeah, so I think for Bath University, I'm wondering whether this Earth Spirit, I mean Earth Spirit I think can roam between mid and top. It just give a lot of problems for the middle lane for University of Nottingham and really help out the Abaddon in the lane in the top lane as well. Actually, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say Wisp hasn't bought anything.
Yeah, normally Wisp is going to save up his gold trying to get an early bottle. Well, this is normally the normal strategy for Wisp. He might get pulled one tango from the Vengeful Spirit, but Wisp is going to save all his gold, try and get the bounty, and instantly secure himself a bottle and go from there. An interesting point to note though is this Tidehunter has actually picked himself out a Stout Shield actually, which is very, very uncommon for Tidehunters, because obviously with the Kraken Shell, when you get level 2, it doesn't stack with the damage block from Stout Shield. So when he gets at least level 3 or level 4, this Stout Shield is going to offer him nothing for this Tidehunter. So maybe a little bit questionable in terms of item choices, but nonetheless, be fine in his lane. How you doing, Pyrian? You doing good?
Yep. Just waiting.
Waiting, man.
I mean, we're 1 minute and 7, minus 1 minute and 7 into the game, and there's a pause, so what should we talk about?
No. You're going to be here tomorrow, aren't you?
Yeah.
Not me, though, unfortunately.
Are you not coming?
Unfortunately not. I will not be here tomorrow. I've got the real life and responsibilities, but...
Oh, I don't have a real life or responsibilities, yeah.
I didn't mean that. I'm just unfortunate I can't do esports full-time, unlike yourself. You know?
On a Sunday? You work on a Sunday?
I do. I'm good, man. I need to quit my job.
You're vicar?
No, I'm not.
Wow.
Who thinks I'm going to win this game?
Do we have anyone here supporting Bath University?
No one.
What about Nottingham?
A little bit cheer.
Alright. Oh.
What seems to be the problem, by the way? Do we know? Is there...
Somebody has no in-game sound, so I think they might be restarting something.
Plan's been alright so far, I think.
Yeah, yeah, it's been good.
Games have been pretty intense, pretty, I think, hyped. Particularly last game. I really
Yeah,
enjoyed
last game was a good one. Need to check the Bournemouth score. While we waiting. It's the FA Cup, I want to know how we did. These guys are just trash talking each other's mums at the moment. It's pretty brutal stuff.
That's English daughter for you, I guess, but...
Here we go, results. Today's results. Come on, Bournemouth. Yeah, we won 2-1 at Portsmouth. Yeah! Nice. Alright, I'm ready to carry on.
Okay, it's fine, don't worry. More important, the results was found. It's all good.
Who's coming back tomorrow? Any of you lot? One person? 2 people? 3? 4? Everybody, come on, everybody should come back tomorrow. Yeah. It's the grand final, grand finale. That's what I said. I said that.
Yeah, you did do it. These guys are fools, don't listen to them.
I said that it's the final tomorrow, and he said, it's tomorrow! Yeah, I said it's tomorrow!
Oh man, people need to open their ears or something, man. We're
We're
fixed?
ready, alright.
Oh, awesome.
Avengers fixed, ready to reconnect, we'll be ready to go. Once he's reconnected.
Oh man. A long day of casting, man.
You've done 2 games, this is the second.
Well, you know... it's thirsty work. Do you want some water?
No.
No? Okay.
Jeez, you sure you're gonna make it, buddy?
I might not. I might need a substitute, please.
Cast a game today, mate, knackered. Jeez.
Hey, we're back underway. Woo!
Bottom is missing.
Now, is it gonna be the usual? I find this goes one of 2 ways.
Bottom
Either
is missing.
all 5 go top, the other 5 go bottom, nothing, or a massacre, like in the last game when they were 3-0 up in a minute.
Last game was a massive massacre, but I think University of Nottingham sort of learned from their mistake from smoking into high ground into Bath University. So looks like they're going to play a little more passive and try and have a better start than they did in the last game.
30 seconds to battle.
Looks like he's carrying a torch, but it's Wisp.
Doesn't look like there's going to be too much action
No,
for Bounty Road, but it looks like Tony is going to be the one position. Going to be most likely position in the short lane. I'm wondering actually if Bath are going to go for an aggressive tri lane, but I don't think that's something they need to do. I think they can just go aggressive duel with both Abaddon and Spirit and go from there.
The battle begins.
They want to get the levels on the tide. They know that that could be important. If let's say that Bath have a good start, you want that Ravage, you can come in and break things up. But as it is, Witch Doctor wandering bot. Zeus mid, obviously he'll be up against the Zeus. The Viper, maybe even accompanied by a Wisp. It's hard to say.
It's hard for Wisp to really zone out the Zeus though. Like Zeus can get easy last hits with Arc Lightning, so I don't think Wisp can get too much accomplished in the mid lane. Although Venge is rotating as well, so with Abaddon and Ursula both being top lane, it might actually require both Wisp and Venge to sort of secure this Gyrocopter farm because he's going to have a very difficult time by himself.
Yes, he is. Yeah. I mean, he is a hero that you can leave alone for sure. But
that's 1v1, not 1v2. He's going to struggle.
Yeah.
So. But it looks like Ursula is going to be the priority in this top lane, taking the farm while Abaddon sits back and takes experience to make sure this Earthspirit is okay. I kind of dislike this decision. The reason being is because Earthspirit is a hero that can rotate in lanes and look for ganks, whereas Abaddon can really only play defensive. He can only try and look for defensive plays and look for saves. So in terms of rotations, it's going to rely on the Witch Doctor to try and help out the Zeus mid.
I think the thing is, this is about zoning out the gyro, right? So you get levels and you get a bit of farm on the Earth Spirit. He can stay up here messing with the Gyrocopter. Meanwhile, in this other lane, you're Tiny. It's not going to be amazing against the Tidehunter because he can get that damage reduction off on him, but I mean, Tiny hits pretty hard anyway.
It looks like Wisp is already going to maybe start stacking Ancients actually, and this is something that Tide can easily fall back on. If he has a hard time in lane, like he can start smashing out the Ancients very, very easily.
Although
obviously with the Kraken Shell and Anchor Smash.
he missed a ton of last hits there. He's actually missed quite a few. He's got 3.
You can't miss Ancient last hits, don't worry. It's fine. Just go to Ancient, you'll be fine.
I'm sure that's it. I'm sure that's the plan.
Must be. But yeah, Whisper, as I said, starting to stack Ancients. This is very, very, very important. I think Tide should be fine in lane anyway, to be honest. But if he does have he's only against Witch Doctor and Tiny, so he should be fine. But if he feels a little bit of too much pressure, then he can rotate back to the Ancients. Wisp though he's going to probably have a hard time trying to find himself useful in this game. Because I mentioned he can't really sit mid because he's going to get zoned out by the Zeus. He is taking Rune, which is important. Takes a lot of presence away from Zeus because he can't secure himself in the lanes. But and top lane, I don't think he wants to sort of steal the experience from Gyrocops on bench. But the question definitely remains is how is Wisp going to get his levels? Maybe he's going to sort of sit bottom and try and suck out experience because he has to have a good enough level to be important in this game to have relocate at a decent time in this game.
Yep, he's only level 1 at the moment. I guess he just goes down here, buddies up with Tide, and similar to the way Earth Spirit and Abaddon are making things difficult for Gyro, he's like, well, I'll make things difficult for Tiny.
Definitely. Like Tiny is a hero. Like playing against Tide is very, very difficult. So you're playing against a melee, or you're playing a melee versus a Tide Hunter. So trying to get last hits is very difficult because of the anchor smash, particularly if Tide Hunter is on top of it.
Viper is doing really well in mid, as you would expect, up against a Zeus. He's going to max the corrosive skin. He's got 2 levels on it. I'd like to see him max that. And once he hits 6, if you stay close to the creep wave, very easy to kill Zeus. He gets slowed every time he tries to get last hits, and you can just finish him off.
And I think the way both teams are set out their lanes, I think it's going to be very passive, but there's not going to be a lot of rotations. As I mentioned before, like Earth Spirit is probably the only person who can rotate from the side of Bath, but he's the dedicated farmer in the off lane, so he wants to sort of sit up there, take up last hits and get experience. And for the side of University of Nottingham, the only person who can really rotate is the bench, but if he leaves, then Gyrocops is going to be kind of vulnerable to the Abaddon and the Earth Spirit. So I think both teams are going to be very, very reluctant to make movement in this game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty passive early stages, as you say, and it'll see who comes out on top in farming. There's not much to do in the bench. I do think the thing is, Gyro, even if he doesn't get a huge amount of farm in lane, he does have that catch-up farming potential. Whereas I'm not sure if Tony, it's a little bit harder. He can still nuke waves and he can nuke camps and stuff like that. But if he doesn't have the mana sustain, I always think it's easier for the Gyro because he can just smash Black Cannon.
Yep, that is definitely true. It looks like actually Zeus has gotten 2 points in Arc Lightning against this matchup against Viper. And this is kind of important because obviously the only way Zeus is going to get his last hit is going to come from this Arc Lightning. And sometimes you do see a lot of Zeus's go 2 points in the Arc Lightning just to sort of secure himself some farm. And I think it's definitely needed because he's definitely not going to be able to get right clicks against a Viper in this lane.
Double top here, they're just giving it to the Gyro a little bit. They get the stun on the Abaddon. Oh, there's a nice cube, and he gets the shield off. Wow, that was close.
Actually bot lane.
Crap! Oh, and they're going to go for the Tony. He's going to throw something at the Wisp. Wisp lives! And they get the Tony too. Wisp! Oh, the lightning! That ball was happy for 2 seconds.
It was actually a really nice play from the Wisp there. He just turned on overcharge before Tony tossed him out. So that 5% incoming damage reduction was, I think, it was enough to actually save him from the Tiny toss, but definitely was enough to save him from the Zeus ulti. Yeah, I mean, I think this Wisp is doing fine. Like he's definitely helping out this Tide Hunter very much so in this lane, and it might actually force Abaddon to go down bottom because this Tiny has to get farm. Like he's the only source of physical damage come the mid and the late game. Obviously, yes, Zeus and Earth Spirit are going to do a lot of damage, but that's going to come from the magical side of things. The only physical presence is going to come from Tiny, and as you mentioned before, Tiny has to have a good time in lane. But Ravage coming out already.
Oh, this is trouble for the Doctor, but Abaddon comes in. He's going to give him the run off, and Maledict only level 1, I suspect. Not going to be enough to do a huge amount of Tide, but they at least force him back. A good rotation from Abba.
As
Viper, by the way, has a mech flying out.
Wow, he's very, very fun actually. And
he hasn't got boots. He's just rushed the mech.
He doesn't need it though. Like he's in no way. Like I mentioned before, this game's going to be very passive in terms of supports rotating, so he doesn't have to feel threatened in lane. And mech is just going to help him even more against the Zeus because he can have that extra HP regen while Zeus spams out with the Arc Lightning.
Hey, look, he doesn't need boots when he gets a haste room.
Exactly. This could be dangerous actually. Abaddon is sitting behind the Zeus though, but he's definitely holding this haste, trying to find himself an opportunity.
I think he's just thinking, who's going to push where? Grabs it, grabs it. Could be interesting. I'm not sure if he can do this, but the ping goes down.
They have a ward. Yeah, they saw the haste of Viper. They're pinging out as well, so Earthsphere is going to go back off. Fine as well. So yeah, so with this mech pickup from the Viper, I think they're gonna just look to group up as 5. Once Tide maybe gets his blink, they're gonna look to try and group up as 5 and start taking towers. Look to try and start taking objectives. And I think that's going to be a good way for Gyrocopter to get back into the game. If they can take a few towers, it's going to help out Gyrocopter a lot in terms of farming.
Oh, they sort of catch the Tide, but not quite. They tossed him back. Oh, he takes a lot of damage there from the Zeus Soul. Doesn't have Ravage, of course. Maledict might be enough. Yep. Witch Doctor picking up the kill. He's got 2 levels in him. That's really good.
That's really important as well, actually. Like without the 2 points to Maledict, I don't think they can get the kill. As they realise like it's only going to be the Tide Hunter in lane, they only need 1 point in paralyze the cast. So,
nice combo. So, yep. Treads up on Tiny. What do you get here? A blink and just go for it, or?
I think blink is fine. Like you can either go there's 2 ways of playing Tiny in the position one. Obviously, you can rush the blink and look to try and get aggressive. I think this game it'd probably be better than rushing the Ags, because a hero like Wisp is a very easy combo to sort of burst down if he picks up the blink. Like they need a way to really engage onto the Wisp before he's too much of a problem.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him go blink dagger and look just to always focus the Wisp and sync close.
I also think it's kind of good if Tony can blink in there, get a nice stun combo off on a couple of people. In comes Earth Spirit, Zeus Soul on top. That's a lot of damage very quickly.
I mean, Axe is obviously a good item as well, so it secures his farm. But I mean, at the same time, if he picks up Blink Dagger, then Barth can look to go on the aggressive, and he can find his farm through finding kills. So I think it depends on the player. I think this game, Blink will be needed, whether he goes Ags first or Blink first.
Well, think about if he doesn't get it, and he's trying to run towards him, he's going to get Viper ult, and he's going to walk into cooldown. He needs to get in there.
I think Blink is a necessity this game. And if he's going to pick up Blink Dagger, he might as well pick it up first and look to try and find some early kills of it. So. But again, some more passive play coming out from both sides of the scenes, but it doesn't look like Tide Hunters.
Oh, in goes the ball!
That.
Spirit though doesn't catch. He's going to get spat on that Abaddon shield, doing some work. Kicks a rock at them. Oh, it does so much damage, really, doesn't it? Look at that.
Earthsphere trying to rotate mid, gank failed, and obviously leaves the top lane even more open now for the Gyrocopter. The Gyrocopter has actually recovered and farmed quite a lot. He's up 47 and 11 actually, and this was against a dual lane for both Earthspirit and Abaddon, so he's doing good there.
I think this is actually one of the best strengths of the Gyro, is that A, he's pretty strong in lane. You can leave him 1v1 against most off-laners. You know, he's quick, he's got good spells, and also, if you stack a couple of camps, he'll go farm them up so quickly, get right back in there and get the farm he needs, and he can do that throughout the match, so very strong hero.
And Tide is like somewhat closing in on his blink as well actually. Like, he's been farming Ancients which have been stacked perfectly from University of Nottingham. This is actually a really nice support play. Like the Wisp was prioritising a lot of early Ancient stacks, and now Ben just did it as well. Yeah, Tide's going to have a very early blink dagger, and with Mech picks up on Viper as well, I assume University of Nottingham just to group up as 5 and look for the 5-man death ball. Like, I mean, you see the supports like Abaddon and Witch Doctor not even level 6 yet. If University of Nottingham can find the timing, he's very, very strong actually. But they're going to spy out the Ancients right now, double stacks, but Tide is not doing it as of right now. Wisp still only level 4 actually. I think a level 6 relocate could do a lot of work actually. A relocate onto say like the Earth Spirit or even middle lane with like the Ravage. Like he doesn't even need a blade dagger if obviously he's got the relocate to put him in the right position. So that's definitely going to pay off. So Wisp getting level 6 is very, very important. It will break a lot of the passive play from this whole game when Wisp starts to get level 6.
Tony's going drums, I think, so makes sense. It gives him a bit of early game presence. He's worried about Nottingham running out, and I think it makes sense.
Yeah. I think with this drums pickup though, he's probably not going to look towards the Blink Dagger, which I think is going to be a bit of a shame, because the only person who could really deal with the Wisp now is going to be the Zeus, and the burst damage alone I don't think he's going to be able to deal with the Wisp. They need some lockdown, and that's where the Blink Dagger from Tiny would have come in. I mean, it would be quite rare for him to go drums into Blink, because it's going to make his Ags very, very late in the game.
Yeah.
again, then the physical presence of Tiny is going to be almost non-existent if that is going to be the case.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
So 2-2, pretty steady stuff here, coming up on the 12-minute mark. Both teams just waiting it out. I don't think any of them would be really unhappy with the way the lanes have gone. It's been pretty even. Certainly no one's been dominated so far in some of the games. There goes the call down. The West Spirit possibly in trouble. Eats a rocket. TP support will come in. Gyro just picking up some farm. Gets a rock at him. Does catch. And silenced as well, but that's it. He'll just give it a walk away.
An interesting iron build here from the Viper. He's going to pick up arcane books, which is going to be built in towards actually talking of him.
Oh yeah, he is. He managed to get the mech off.
So tanky, man. So tanky actually on the side of Viper.
That Abaddon was so patient. He's been here for ages, just waiting, knowing that Viper's going to go on the Zeus, coming in and saving him with the shield. But Viper able to save himself with a mech, as you say. 4-star finished on Zeus as well. How's Tony doing?
Oh, middle lane actually. Viper's going to go down. Maledict's onto plus the Death Ward is definitely going to secure a kill onto the Viper, and that's a really important kill. It's very high on the net worth actually, and now drops down after that death.
Dire's middle tower is under
31
attack.
seconds on the sideline. Wisp going down here to partner up with the Gyro, who's got his Helmet of Dom and phase. What do you get next on Gyro here?
I think SMY is probably the best build-up. There's a lot of burst damage coming from the side of Earth Spirit and Zeus. SMY is probably the best build-up, will help him with farming, tank him up in general. I think he's going to need a BKB definitely this game, but I think SMY is probably the best build-up before BKB.
You don't think maybe a Manta to get rid of that
Dire's
silence
bottom
from
tower
the,
is under attack.
his illusions are going to die far too quickly to Zeus spam plus the Tiny. I mean, Manta is obviously good, but they're going to have the Guardian Greaves to deal with the silence from Earth Spirit anyway, so he doesn't need to build Manta for that and Bruising alone. SMY just going to give him the more tankability that he's definitely going to need, but he's only 845 HP at the moment. Like a combo from Zeus is going to kill him, so he has to be building a lot more tanky as a result.
Nice. Now they're going to get a little bit of a push on top. I don't think which team actually has the best push.
Dire's
And
top
honestly,
tower is
Both have
under
pretty bad push.
it's neither of them.
Radiant's
Yeah.
bottom tower
I'm
is
struggling to
under
figure that
attack.
out, but in that regard, I think it might make it more of a fighting game, because without killing the enemy team, you ain't going to push anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Dire's
It looks like both
structures
teams are
are
happy to sort of trade up both the safe lane towers as a result. Go from
Dire's
there.
top tower
Wisp is
is
still not
under
level 6
attack.
actually, and this is going to be a bit of a problem.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Because
attack.
there's going to be less movement from the
Radiant's
side of Nottingham, and as a result, no
structures
kind of relocate save as well. They have to get Wisp level 6. Like level 5, 40 minutes into the game is very low. They need to sort of secure himself some experience. And the best way to do that is to start a team fight, honestly. So perhaps we're going to see a team smoke and look for a team fight from there. I mean, both teams are happy to team fight. Like University of Nottingham, they've got Blink on the Tide, they've got obviously the Mech on the Viper. The side of University of Nottingham should definitely not be afraid to take a team fight right now.
Well, this is this Witch Doctor sustain. They were able to push it all the way up to the tier 2.
A few moments later.
It's so strong on him. I think it's mad to get anything else, honestly.
Yep, it's going to give him some extra sort of stats as well, so I think it's good. But there might be an engagement here. Zeus playing a little far out. Can they punish is the question. Viper coming in.
Oh! Ravage catches him. That was a good core start, but the cooldown's going to catch 3 huge amounts of damage. Down goes the Zeus, down goes the Witch Doctor. Viper spin all over the Earth Spirit. Hardly any damage taken by University of Nottingham team, swapping back into trouble. The TP is trying to get out there. Oh, they almost did it just enough, but that should be, well, they can do an awful lot of damage here to mid, I think.
Yeah, they're going to pressure high ground. They don't think there's any buybacks from the side of Bath, and they don't have the greatest deep push either. Like, the Zeus is the one dead, so they can't push out the waves fast enough. So they're going to use Glyph here, but it's not going to deter University of Nottingham right now.
Yep, it was very well executed. It was very nifty smoke around the back, but Zeus was just a tiny bit too far up. And without him, they couldn't really defend. Got all kinds of caught out. Nice Ravage, caught 3, cooldown, caught 3. Good damage.
Spirit's up in 3. It looks like they're going to try and defend actually. Blink out from Tidehammer. Jorakov should be free maybe. Tide going in.
Wow, he did nothing. And they toss the Viper back into the Witch Doctor ulti. But he just gets blown up. Abaddon ult pop. There's the ult from Abba. Gyro chasing him down. This is not great. Denied. Abaddon denied himself. Earthspirit goes back in, trying to get the kill on the Viper, but he just lived. You've got to be kidding me. 3 more dead. And the Tony as well. Tony instant buyback. I think he's looking for cleanup. They've only lost Tidehunter.
And they're really low actually. They can Aegis is down on the Jorakov as well.
Yes, the gyro! Tiny with the cleanup. Can he get it? Viper's 200 health. Sticks through. There's no relocate from Wisp. He's down for 51. Tiny's just going to try and find Viper. One more touch should do it. Bomb.
They're going to chase the Whisper's on. Whisper's going to TP out, so he should be fine. But a definite needed buyback there from Tiny. If he didn't buy back, they were going to lose the melee reaction in mid lane. But they definitely, I mean, that buyback was definitely worthwhile. 4 kills there.
Yeah.
For Tiny. Unfortunately, the Aegis just ran out from the side of Jorakov to just when that engagement happened, so wasn't able to come back to life. But still, Nottingham, I think they'll be okay with that. Like, they're realising how strong they are in team fights. They took their range Rex. It's obviously good. It forced a buyback from Tiny. I think University of Nottingham will still be okay with that trade as a result.
Is under attack.
They might, yep, they will be giving up this tier 2. Unless they decide to force it late. No, deny. Tiny gets the tower, closing in on that Ags. Very close now. I think the next big thing is going to be this fight at Roche. There will have to be a big fight at Roche, because if they give it up, I think they're going to lose at least 1 lane either
Exactly.
side.
They simply cannot afford to give University of Nottingham the Roche. The one problem is though is that fighting around Roche when you're fighting against a Tidehunter is going to be so difficult, because that Ravage is going to hit multiple heroes, and it doesn't matter how well Bath position themselves, they're going to get caught out by a Ravage at the end of the day. So perhaps if they can maybe steal Roche for themselves, perhaps smoke outside of Roche, or perhaps when University of Nottingham are in their jungle, and then from that Bath can take Roche themselves. That would be very good, but they can't allow University of Nottingham to position themselves ready to take a fight into Roche.
The other thing is, I mean, that's the thing with Tidehunter, I think. You're not going to burst him down.
Yeah,
almost
exactly.
Impossible to burst him down. So he's almost always going to get that Ravage off. You've almost got to try and bait it out or somehow get a pick off.
Yeah.
But with the Wisp on the map, it's going to be very difficult to do that. This could be interesting. No smoke. Tony blinked past it. He goes straight on the bench. He does get stunned. The Ravage doing an awful lot of work, but the Earth Spirit ulti too. Tony takes out the bench. In exchange, Earth Spirit Witch Doctor ulti is doing some work, but Gyro manages to get the Abaddon. Abaddon denies himself actually. Viper going on Zeus. Nice bomb goes. Toss on the Viper. He might go down. They've still got 3. It's Tiny versus all. They're just going to kite him and punch him. He's not going to get anybody. Oh, and down he gets a total team wipe. Joff with a triple kill. And that's huge for Nox.
Again, it's just the Ravage in these close quarters team fights. The Ravage is doing so much work, and with Pipe as well. Like his cores are so tanky. They have Jorakov with BKB. You've got Tide who's naturally tanky, and then you have Guardian Greaves on Viper. There's no way they can easily burst down these cores, and then you have heroes like Wisp that are just giving more and more HP to the side of this cores. It's very difficult for Bath to really burst them down as a result.
And then you've got the save potential from
Exactly,
Venture
from Venture
as
as well,
if
like,
it goes bad. Yeah,
it's
really
very,
good.
very difficult. But I mean, they did decently in the last team fight, but with Ravage down, I think they have a chance to take team fights. That Ravage honestly is a great X factor in these team fights, and fighting around Ravage could definitely be the key factor. Tiny's up in 30 seconds, and Ravage has still gone cooldown for 70, so maybe Bath are going to try and find a timing as a result.
Yep. As you say, Ravage down. But, I mean, what can Bath do here other than just push their lanes out, try and regroup? They still don't have Tony for 15 seconds.
Yeah, they have to push out lanes.
He does have Axe finish.
I think they have to try and look for like a pick-off or look for a team fight as soon as Tiny's back on, because I mean, Ravage on corner. If there's a chance for them to win a team fight, it's going to be right now.
They're never going to get there.
It's going to be too late. Roche is going to go down. We're going to go to the side of University of Nottingham, and as a result, they'll be fighting against Joracopter with Aegis now again. Plus, now they're going to be fighting with Ravage. It's going to be off cooldown and off.
It's a big ask. It is a really big ask. What is the range on swap now with Ether Lens? It's the entire world. Okay, gotcha.
I think it's about 1,200. Yeah, it's going to be very difficult, like, to even try and burst someone down.
Oh wow, Buff, I guess, hoping to catch them doing it, but
fine tied up, but nice.
The reactions, he's away. He has a pipe now too, by the way.
Really nice item against Zeus actually, and Zeus just picked up himself an Oxyrincorn. Pipe, obviously a great item, not only for Tide himself, but for his team. Zeus is going to be doing a lot less damage as a result of this pipe.
Sorry, I was just going to say, what do you think with this kind of lead? I mean, it has been up and down. Like, I feel like those spikes up are when Bath takes a fight and Ravage is down.
Yeah.
And those swings
exactly.
down are when
That's exactly what it is.
That's it, isn't it? It's like, okay, they don't have Ravage, they have Ravage. They don't have Ravage, they have Ravage.
Yeah, I think that's honestly the key thing. Like, similar to how Chronosphere was in the last game, Ravage is in this game as well. So Bath needs to either find a pick-off to delay, obviously University of Nottingham trying to group up and push his 5, or they need to somehow bait out the Ravage or fight, outside of the big closed quarters. But University of Nottingham, they're grouping up as 5 now, pushing down the top lane. But if Bath can maybe try and split push mid, then it might even force a rotation back from University of Nottingham.
Radiant's top tower has fallen. Dire's
Oh
middle
my
tower
goodness, what is
under
going on
attack.
mid? Are they just going to try and force them back?
Tower is under
Tide's
attack.
actually already rotating back actually. This is a good play from Bath.
Dire's
Bath did not
bottom
want to be taking
tower
team
is
fight
under
while
attack.
Aegis is up on Joracopter, so...
What was that noise?
I have no idea.
Catches 2. TP's in. Viper's going on the Tiny. Tiny manages to get it done off of Viper with that BKB. Wish Doctor ulti coming through. But this is not looking great for Bath. Whisper's the only one in any danger. They get Wish Doctor, they get Tiny. Earthspirit trying to get away, but Viper's there. They swap him back. He goes to the TP. Gush to cancel, and again, Zeus is the only one left up. University of Nottingham dominating in this fight. And Zeus manages to escape, but Bath in real trouble now.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it was a nice idea from Bath to try and split push, but the one factor they didn't really take into account is obviously the Wisp. Like, Wisp is one of the best counters against split pushing, and I mean, Bath, they didn't really have any other option. They couldn't take a team fight, they'd lose it playing against Ravage plus the Aegis, and so they were forced to split push. But then with Wisp rotated in, the team fight happened regardless, and as a result, University of Nottingham came out ahead again.
I mean, the other problem you've got is you got a BKB on Joe, you got a BKB on Viper. You're not doing any damage to those core heroes. It's very difficult.
And now University of Nottingham, they've got lanes pushed out. There's no split pushing here from Bath, and as a result, they're going to go high ground. And Bath, I mean, their Ravage is down. That's the one key factor Bath are going for him. But obviously, still being around 14,000 gold down is still not an easy fight, whether the enemy team has Ravage or not.
Oh man, 14,000 gold and Aegis. Not looking great for Bath here. Nottingham in a fantastic position.
Nottingham are going to play it safe though. They don't want to fight without Ravage, which I think is a smart choice. The one problem obviously is that Roche, the Aegis is going to expire soon for Joracopter. Bath, they're looking to go on the aggressive actually. Maybe surprise University of Nottingham.
I think just think the problem is like, all right, Ravage is down, but it's ignoring the fact that Gyro with BKB and Aegis can do so much damage. Viper the same. Especially against Tiny, which is the one source of their damage against people that are BKB'd up.
Exactly.
it's just too difficult.
It's just like Bath, they have no ability to really kill the cores on University of Nottingham. They're all far too tanky, and then obviously they have the Wisp and the Venge, as we mentioned before. It's very, very difficult. And those BKBs are doing so much work. Like, it's completely nullifying the work of Zeus. We saw how much work Zeus was doing in the previous game, but now with pipes and BKBs on the line, Zeus just really is starting to fall off now in the mid game.
Deck, Moik.
Weak.
Me Moik's playing up.
It's either. It's alright. I thought, you know, join yourself with one. What are you drinking? You know? Passion for an apple.
That's all they got. Here we go, lads!
Oh, we're back in.
So, where were we? You look at the tiny ski. I feel like you said, the drums means that it's delayed him in getting that next ice.
Like, I think what he needs to have like Moonshot or some kind of like, you know, AC to give him that physical presence. But with the drums pick up, like he was kind of suffering lane, which I understand. But with the drums pick up, it delayed the blink, which delayed the Ags, which delayed his farm. Like Ags on Tiny is very, very good to excel his farm, and same with obviously Battle Fury. You want to get it as early as possible. But I can see what you're eyeing out. The Battle Fury, the Butterfly on the side of Gyrocopter. There's no MKB on the side of Tiny, so the physical presence is going to be even more reduced now on the side of Gyrocopter.
This is going to be a tricky one. Obviously, Ravage is up. Ravage with Shivas, by the way. So, if this isn't, I mean, this is going to take a monumental defense from Bath here, I think.
Really will. And they're spamming out though. They're doing the right thing. Just trying to delay the push. They're spamming out with Arc Lightning plus spam from Tiny. Just trying to delay the push as much as possible, which is definitely the right thing. But the push is coming, and there's almost nothing that can stop it.
Yep, there's a rocket on Tiny just to buy them enough time. Get one more to attack. Yep,
Radiant's
there goes the rack.
has fallen.
They can work their way down bottom now as well. Bot lane is pushing quite heavily, so University of Nottingham can start working towards the bot lane.
I mean, they don't need to play this too safe, do they? I mean, they don't have to play around.
They really don't.
Wait for Roche. They can definitely go for this.
They're really far ahead. Like, in effect, if they don't push, then it will allow Bath maybe to get back into the game. So I think this is definitely the right decision to try and push their advantage as they've got one.
I mean, the Viper's got 4K just chilling in his bank account.
All that money's, man. Roll with him. He can buy Ags actually right now, but oh, Ravage! Completely whiffed actually.
Yep, interrupted his blink. Very nice. He goes the Earth Spirit. A lot of damage going down, but not enough, and he's going to get killed by the Viper. The swap gets the Tony back into trouble. Wow. All right, Tony's doing it. He's doing a lot of work, but not enough. Earth Spirit buys back. Tony buys back. Abaddon buys back. But none of them have died. You still got 5 of them up.
They have to catch. I mean, you can't commit triple buyback and not get anything for it. Abaddon's chasing.
There goes the rock, but they're going to turn it around on Abba. Get the spits on him. Toss him in. What? No! Why me? They're still alive. They haven't lost anybody. The Bolton will have to roll away. That was a disaster for Bub. Wow.
Wow, a lot committed there, like triple buyback, and without anything, they didn't get anything as a result. In fact, they lost the Abaddon and University of Nottingham as a result. They got Wisp, they got Guardian Greaves. They're all completely back to full HP, full mana, and you know they're gunning for that Rax right now.
Yeah, they haven't got Ravage for this fight, but Earth Spirit ulti down for a bit longer. They do still have the ability to just throw things at people, which is like
Pop actually out on the Gyrocopter. Earth Spirit goes in actually. He can be popped by the Gyrocopter. Earth Spirit dropping very quickly. It does go down. No Ravage on the side of Tie-Down there as a result, but still, the Earth Spirit down. They're happy to take this Rex.
I feel like the Earth Spirit hasn't had the impact that he has when I play against him. You know what I mean?
That's just cognitive bias, man. Every opponent you face is always better than you think they are.
Maybe.
But tower to fall. Earth Spirit going down.
Oh wow, Witch Doctor, what are you doing, son? Get out of there! I know you've got a glimmer case, but
Shard goes down!
Oh,
Shard goes down! One pass BKB, that buyback from Witch Doctor actually. They're going to try and turn this Tie-Down to going in. Still does not have Ravage actually. The racks are still up. They're going to force a retreat actually. Can they catch Tiny Toss back onto the Zeus?
Oh wow. And the Witch Doctor ulti! No,
Stop
interrupted.
instantly.
What the hell? They swapped the
Really
Viper
go
out.
out.
Where's that bongo going? There's a bongo flying across the map.
Tiny going
Got
down.
it, Tiny.
Gets the glaive.
Tiny
Roach
live. 100 health. Oh
Buff
my
is still
God.
alive. I can't believe Buff doing this. Oh my god, they're
He's coming
defending.
back. Get ready for the whisk.
Wisp is going to try and tether out onto a creep in the mid lane.
Oh,
He's going to get Bongo wrong.
Bongos.
Can they catch him?
What's up? It gets tossed in the air. The wish doctor goes in and they get him.
What?
Four down. Buff health.
That was an incredible hold by Bath there. 4 for nothing. Yes, it cost him a buyback, but look at that. The gold swing must have been enormous for the side.
Let's have a look.
It's pretty big, actually.
That's
Definitely.
enormous.
Yeah, Bath definitely a massive hold, and I think the biggest thing though is that Ravage wasn't used.
Yeah.
If you remember that they whiffed it on the bottom lane, and as a result, when the team fight sort of carried on, they weren't able to use the Ravage. It's off cooldown now, but a 4-man wipe actually, that's massive for Bath. Like,
I think he went for the blink and it got interrupted.
yeah. But BKB now on Tiny, like, he's able to start dishing out
That's
damage.
big, yeah.
So, I mean, Bath, I think there's a possibility they can get back into this game, honestly. It was looking very, very rough for the side of Bath, but after that team fight, they're definitely back in this.
They're back in it. They're back in it.
Kinda, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you gotta give them hope, you know. Optimism.
If they can hold like that again, it's on, like Donkey Kong.
Exactly. But, obviously, the Ravage wasn't used last fight, so Ravage can definitely change the tide of battle. Hey, tide of battle, but anyway.
Get out.
Okay, I'll leave right now. Anyway, but Roche is still going to be a very important factor. Last team fight, obviously, Gyrocopter didn't have the Aegis, they didn't have Ravage as well. Bath have to contest the Roshan if they can, but
They can't.
it's too late. Roche already secured for University of Nottingham. They're going to have to rely on some massive plays as they did the last team fight to get back into it, but...
Your shaman has fallen to the
Oh my goodness. The cheese. Oh, look at Viper has a heart, for goodness sake. Holy moly. So, Cheese Roche, if Bath can hold this,
They are gods amongst
that
them.
is an amazing achievement. Because this is going to be almost impossible. Good luck to these boys.
I think the way they have to take these team fights is I think they have to do the same. They have to try and cancel the blink. So Zeus I think Zeus has got to position himself in the ability to keep spamming out lining to make sure that the blink from Tide is not going on.
If they can somehow get him to burn the Ravage again, that would be huge. Tiny BKB, we'll see.
I think a toss back from Tiny would be really big as well. If they can toss an enemy back to enemy lines, there's an opportunity to get back into it. But Tiny taking a lot of damage though. Viper strike. Oh my god, Joe!
Got blown up! That's the Aegis down. Viper's gonna take care of the Witch
Watch the
Doctor.
Ravage!
Where is it? Where is it? He's waddling, trying to catch up. Witch Doctor, the Viper eats the cheese. The Ravage only catches Witch Doctor. Can they save him? They held him. I don't believe it.
Oh, this is their opportunity. Ravage completely missed.
Yeah, Ravage whip. They swap him out. There's the toss. Abaddon chasing. I can't believe they held it. That was insane. They're going to get the punches now on the bench.
Bench dropping low actually.
Yeah, she's low. They're chasing the Wisp down too. Bench does drop.
They should try and go more. Abaddon going down. He's got ulti though.
He's holding him up. He's throwing him down. Witch Doctor has the cast. Gets the gyro. There's the
Gyrocopter. He's going down. Oh my god.
76 seconds. I can't believe the
Oh my god.
They're chasing down the Viper too. Oh, this is just...
They're going to catch the Viper. Viper going to catch that. Viper doesn't have cheese either. Toss onto the... Viper goes down. Oh my goodness. Viper holding it. Right, they lost the range right
There's
by
the
lane.
Wiz. Cancel that. Zap him.
Oh
Kill
my
them all.
goodness.
There's nothing for them to tether to. Tiny misses actually, but they will finish him off.
Wow. What is going on?
Another
Jesus,
four.
man. This is madness going on here. Right, so let's try and calm ourselves. Right. Bath, they're still mid-racks down, their range rack down's bottom lane as well, but they held against Aegis, they held against Cheese, they held against Ravage for a second time. Bath, they've got the momentum to really go and take this game. This is a crazy game, honestly. It's absolutely unbelievable. BKB,
there we go.
Right,
Look,
there we go.
What started off as a little tick and now gone up, so they've almost knocked 5k. In fact, they've knocked 5k off the difference. They've got to do this 3 more times.
and they can get back in this,
and
man.
they're back to level. But honestly, this Tony is becoming a problem.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be building Manta as well. Manta on Tiny is probably one of the most cost-efficient damage items because a hero like Tiny has great base damage. His base damage is 326. Put that on Manta Illusions, can do so much work. University of Nottingham don't really have the greatest AoE as a result. Yes, they have gyro cooldown. Yes, they have the Ravage from Tidehunter, but it's not the greatest AoE. As a result, this Manta Illusion can do a lot of damage. So if he can pick up Manta, I mean, they have a chance to come back into this game.
It'd be amazing, absolutely amazing. They've given themselves that chance. They've been really disciplined. They've high ground defended really well. Yeah, absolutely brilliant game, definitely. Ether lens up on the Witch Doctor. If he had an Ags now,
yes, that could really change.
That would be the tipping point. But as it is, I think they've got to put all their eggs in the Tony basket. He needs buyback for this next fight. Has to have it. Because if he gets picked off, it's GG.
Yeah. This F-Blade from Zeus though, like we didn't mention it a lot, but it's doing a lot of work. Like, the amount of burst they have, like, if you think about it, like, if you remember, BKB on Gyrocopter was picked up very, very early. He got the S and Y, but now as a result, the BKB is only 5 seconds on Gyrocopter. So
that's 5 seconds. Viper, 6 seconds. Yeah,
exactly. Like, the burst damage now is available. Like, this Gyrocopter's gone Butterfly, so he's very, impervious to physical damage. But after BKB, Zeus is going to tear him a new one practically.
Yeah.
So it's doing so much work, but Bath looking to take the advantage right now. I can't believe this game is still going on. It's absolutely madness.
Fantastic.
It's been a great, great game, honestly. Always hyper extensive. So it's still game 1. Bath are still 1-0 up, but they're going to use Zeus to try and find out the position of University of Nottingham. As a result, going to find him in the top lane. Oh, Satanic now picks up from Gyrocopter, though. This is going to be an item that's going to change things. Because,
However, the E-Blade could be really big there. Really big. If he doesn't, if he has to pop it outside BKB.
Exactly. Yeah. If somehow the eBay can be used in conjunction with Gyrocopter use Satanic, then he's not going to be able to get his damage back because he can't attack. So there could be some big plays coming on the side of Zeus if he's careful.
This is it.
This is it, man.
They've managed to play around the Ravage really well, but they've either backed off it or they've cancelled the blink. And they do that a 3rd time.
Let's look at buyback status as well. So it's everyone's got buyback on the side of Radiant.
Oh, look at the damage on Viper. He's already at half health.
Oh, toss in!
Tony going in! Is this the play? In goes Tony. The Ravage doesn't matter. He's going to punch him. Oh, they're so slow. Oh, dear, he can't do any damage. But wait, he's still going. Gets the toss off. Gyro, though. I don't know if Tony's got the life in it.
Nice force off.
Oh, they're going to try again. He's still going.
Everyone's so low. Zeus is still alive. Zeus! Oh my god, so much damage, but
crazy.
Glimmer Cape's going to save his life so far.
Look how low they are.
They're so low, they're going to go on the Venge. Venge is going to drop most likely. Can they catch it is the question. They should be trying to look. But again, Bath hold for a 3rd time in a row.
How did Tony live? He was so low. That's insane.
And that force off was so clutch. And University of Nottingham, they're like throwing and bashing their heads against the wall, and they cannot push high ground. They're trying so hard, but they're failing. I mean, that Ravage was great.
Yeah.
It was a great Ravage, but this time it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, the Bath have gotten so back into the game that honestly, the Ravage is now less of a factor.
100% true. And as you can look now, think about their position over the last 20 minutes. They've been here.
I know,
now they're back here.
This game has been absolutely fantastic, honestly. And
meaning that they've moved from there to there is what I'm saying. Like they're back, that's it. Because this is here, and they're now here.
I know what you're saying, Beard.
Okay,
it's fine. Don't worry. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. But you saw how low the side of University of Nottingham can get, though. Like, I think if maybe Zeus can, I think the next time Zeus can get maybe like Ags would be a big factor. You saw how low all of them got. Like, if Ags are extra damage can do a massive load of work. Maybe Dagon as well. Like, because of the build is gone. But F-Blade plus Octarine is a lot more single burst damage. Normally, if you want to go the Ags, you want to go Refresher Ags, so you can do a lot of AoE damage. So, following his sort of trend of build, maybe Dagon will be the better decision.
I mean, when he E-Blades the Viper and zaps him a couple of times, Viper's on like half health.
Yeah, really low. Like, I think the static field has really come into effect now, the health reduction percentage, because although Viper, yes, is very tanky, I mean, that works almost against him as a result.
Scaled up.
Yeah, exactly. And so Zeus is still becoming a big factor in the late game. Again, though, like, if you're seeing the team fights, Zeus is staying alive every single team fight.
His positioning has been fantastic.
Perfect. Yeah, and then the 4 staff saves on himself, on for his teammates. Oh, that is a big item now on Tide, actually. Refresher picks up on Tide. This could definitely change the pace of the game.
I'll say. Now, can Bath hold a 4th time?
Oh, man. I mean, they've shown so far, but I I mean, refresher on Tide is honestly game-changing, so... Zeus ulti again, just trying to find out the positioning of the University of Nottingham, make sure they're not up to some funny business or some crazy antics, but they're gonna just find out they're just trying to fight.
Yep. What do you get next on Gyro, for instance?
I think damage, honestly. I think MKB might be the superior decision. It will give him some extra presence in the team fights. Like, at the moment, Barflab is sort of kite the side of University of Nottingham. They've got a lot of 4-staffs, you know, the F-Blade. I think MKB will be able to sort of burst someone down in situations like that. But, well, there might be an engagement.
They could get a catch here.
Well, Bath needs to be careful. They're outside of base.
They are.
Bath need to have the advantage of staying on the high ground. Blink does get away. Tiny gets away. This is very important. Because Bath, the last 3 team fights they've been winning, it's been inside their base.
Absolutely.
They have the logistical advantage as a result. If they get caught outside of their base, it could be disastrous for them. So playing, you know, behind their tier 4s is very, very important. But University of Nottingham, they're going to try a 4th time. Push coming, and this is the Dagon build, as I mentioned.
Oh wow!
A lot of burst damage on the side of Zeus. I think Ags would be good, but I think you want to go for Ags and Refresher.
I think this is
the Dagon
with the E-Blade, absolutely 100%
a lot of burst.
the right play.
But the BKB's now only 5 seconds for both Viper and Gyrocopter, so a lot of burst damage can be used right now. But they have to be careful of the double Ravage.
The Gyro is very big in their width, but Zeus and Tiny, second and third, it's all on them. Oh, he blinks back, just holding them up. Are they going to give up this melee racks? I do think the one thing Nottingham can do is just play up, try and take, pip, sort of, you know, nip away at the racks and keep that
like
Tide back.
Chip away.
Chipping away. It is going to be difficult to force them to fight, but
I agree.
4th time's a charm perhaps for Nottingham on this bot rack.
Bath are doing the right thing though, they're just spamming out obviously with Zeus and Tiny sort of, he's in a position that he's very tanky, that he can be in the front ground like, you know, right clicking these creeps.
Yep.
Yeah, they can't be too aggressive.
There we go, Gyro goes in.
Oh,
Quick
nice, that's missed up.
Oh, the Tide tries to Ravage, he does Ravage, doesn't catch anybody. He manages to refresh, he does get a couple, but Tony's in there doing quite a bit of work. Do they have a Wish Doctor ulti? No, he's in huge trouble. Gyro's trying to take him out. Gyro, he's going to get the rocket of the Wish Doctor. Can they get this Wisp? It doesn't matter, he's got this Wisp just helping him out. Look at the Satanic doing the work.
Tiny's gonna fall!
Tiny!
He's got Barback coming in actually, coming in, TB in right now. There's no Ravage that they should try and turn a fire. Start onto the Viper, Malady onto him as well. This Viper could be dropping right now. And he does!
They get him, and there's the Tide as well. They should be able to punch him down. There's the E-Blade, he gets killed too. Double kill for Tony, that's a value buyback. Tony going in after the Venge, running hard.
Venge is going down.
Venge
really got out, saves the Gyrocopter, but Whisk is going to trade his life again.
But the base, lads, it's getting wrecked by the creeps. They're going to kill this little ball when he comes back. Bonk.
Again though.
What?
Oh, Glimmer. He should be still dying though.
There we go.
He's dead. But again, right, so it cost a buyback from Tiny. But again, they did win the team fight. The only problem is that they lost the melee racks. Now, although they're winning the team fights, they have to eventually start looking to get racks of their own. They're not going to win the game if they sneak in the base themselves. They have to look to try and go for the aggressive. They're winning the team fights now, regardless of whether the Ravage has Restoration Stone. They have to be looking to go on the aggressive now. Roche could be the next best thing, and look where Tiny's heading.
You know, in a funny way, him using his buyback, it does at least mean he can now just spend any money he gets. Otherwise, he's like, oh man, I got to save for buyback. Now it's like, well, YOLO, I may as well buy the item.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not great, but he might get an item anyway. I don't know if they can get this in.
They could have been very big. Aegis on Tiny doesn't have buyback. Looks like University of Nottingham. Know what's up, but one more thing, Ravage is down, both the first Ravage and the second Ravage, so
yeah,
the team
bad
fight,
though, that's bad.
I think Bath should definitely try and contest that. They cannot give up this Aegis. I think they're in a good position to fight, honestly. Ravage is down, both of the Ravages are down, they cannot give up this Roshan.
No, I think this is a mistake, but...
They see Zeus top though, so University of Nottingham are going to try and take Roshan as a result.
And it's half health, I mean, why not?
With Venge as well, they take this Roshan very, very quickly, but I think this is their opportunity to fight. There's no Ravage, so they don't have to be wary about groping up in a big, you know...
Well, there is Ravage, but it's not Refresher Ravage, at least.
Exactly.
Yeah. Tricky one for Bath. I think they just They were worried about getting jumped. I can
Roshan
understand
has
Oh,
fallen to
BKB
the
on
dark.
Tony actually. Oh dear.
as it is. Gyro pick up. Oh, we accidentally BKB as well.
Accidentally.
So it's a cheese on. Who's
Hey.
got the cheese?
Big Viper probably. Yeah.
Wow. Well, if they
But
can hold here, that really would be something. I
They
think.
held with Viper Cheese before, so maybe they can do it again.
Maybe.
Oh man. This game has been pretty fantastic.
Either way, do you know what? Either way, like you said, it's been a great game, and
It
they've
really
done
has.
fantastically well to hold this long. When they've been under the cosh for so much of the game, if you look at the graph, after the laning phase, it wasn't looking great for them, and they've held on for like 40 minutes. So
They've held on with dear life, man. They really have, but the game might reach its final climax here, actually. Not careful.
YOLO.
YOLO. Zeus all in, doing a lot of damage. Tiny blinks in as she goes on straight onto the Vengeful Spirit, and Witch Doctor using Death Ward. A lot of damage coming out as she ravaged onto all 5! Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
And the refresh too, and this is not great. Actually, none of them have died, only Bench, but it's only going to be a matter of time. Earth Spirit goes down. Abaddon's, well, he's not looking great. Zeus down. Tony
Why
trying
back?
to punch them all down, but he just can't do the damage. He gets glimmered. He's going to back off. Zeus comes back in. They've lost Avenge. That's it. They've still got Cheese. They've still got Aegis. So not great from Bath's perspective. Nottingham, though, absolutely on the front foot here.
Yeah, I think I kind of dislike the decision for Bath to try and fight outside of base. I mentioned they've been winning the last 4 team fights when they stayed inside of their base. The minute they stood outside of the team fight, outside of their base, they lost it. They lost the logistical advantage, and now 3 dead on the side of Bath. I think they're going to lose Mega Creeps, and they most likely are going to lose the game as well.
Yeah, I think they are. I think they just thought that we'll catch them out. It's the only way we're going to beat them in a straight fight. Tiny going onto the side. He is pretty hard to kill, but they're making pretty good work of it. Ball down there doing some work that doesn't
Nearly
matter.
racks
They're just
the ball.
zoning them off.
Range
There's the
racks
rack.
the ball as
There's
well.
the Megas.
There's the Megas, and
Yeah.
I mean, with 3 down on the side of Bath, they're going to go straight for the Shrine. There's nothing that Bath can do. They fought very valiantly and with a lot of honour, but unfortunately, Tiny's going to go in though. But they do pop the Gyrocopter. They pop the Gyrocopter, but he's going to come back up. And University of Nottingham just going to play it safe, going to back out, wait for the Roach to come up. They've got Mega Creeps. They're in no rush to try and, you know. I mean, this game has been very close. Maybe catch the Wisp. The Wisp's going to get caught, actually. Tiny's going to catch him. As a result, finds himself a nice little consolation prize.
Bath opting to play on in the face of Mega Creeps.
I mean,
Interesting decision.
They've had some crazy holds, man. Like, I mean,
they've held.
let's
Why
be real.
not, right? Yeah,
Why not? Why not carry on with it?
PD on Viper. I mean, alright. Let's play on.
Let's play on, man. This is Dota 2. Anything can happen.
It's not like we've got homes to go to, guys.
Think of the Dota, man. Think of the Dota. Right, so Bath are facing against Mega Creeps, and the best way to deal with Mega Creeps is they need to start building towards Maelstroms inside their cores. It's the only way they can face off against the Creeps on the side of Bath, against the side of University of Nottingham.
Yeah.
Zeus is quite good, obviously, because the Arc Light is practically a Maelstrom himself, and Tiny obviously good with the Ags. But in terms of the sides of like Witch Doctor, Earth Spirit, they need to start building Maelstrom because the Creeps are going to overrun them.
Yeah, 100%.
So if they have a chance, they have to start building Maelstroms as a result to deal with them.
If they're actually going to try and do this, which from the look of it they are.
Well, they haven't sort of thrown in the towel just yet, so.
He's got that moonshot working though.
Man, he is super fast actually. First year Nottingham, just playing it safe. It's funny, like this Viper's had this point booster for like the longest time. Like,
Yeah.
he had it like 20 minutes and
He
hasn't
has,
used it one bit. Like, I wonder if he's gonna go Scardy actually. Like, I think Ags would have been good in the mid game, but now it's sort of 56 minutes of the game. I think Scardy might be the superior choice.
Yeah. Now the fights are over before your things come off cooldown.
Exactly. But University of Nottingham just pushing in the lanes, really kind of pen Bath into their base right now. Making sure Bath have zero opportunity to get back to the game.
Well, there's the rock. Again, though, I think Nottingham can just walk up. Oh, what the heck? Tony in trouble. He's pretty beefy, manages to manter and he gets.
But the buildings are dying though. The shrine is now exposed actually. Death Ward used right now. Viper's dropping quite low actually. Can he go down? Nice one onto Middlesbrough. Ravage is under 3.
Tony, what can you do? Punch him down, Tony! He's giving it his best shot.
Second Ravage comes out. And And Abadu goes down, and that is the game. University of Nottingham take the second game of the series. That was an absolutely fantastic game. I mean, really, really well held by Bath. But at the end of the day, we have one more game in this series, and I cannot be unhappy with that. What a fantastic game.
That was brilliant.
I was absolutely thrilled, man. That was fantastic. Great play from Bath, and at the end, University do take it in the end. Great play, and we'll come back for game 3 just as soon as we can. Woo! Woo! Man, that was sick.